Kids, the next generation, working on these topics and really putting a lot of school time to that with the teachers. I think that's a great thing. Good job.
One other aspect of their legacy project last year saw the presenting of electric go-karts to the school in collaboration with the Danish Automobile Sports Federation. The drivers spent the rest of the day giving the students pointers as they made their way around the track.
Ja, det gas och det brems. Så då bremsar du.
The reason that we come to places like Greenland is all about legacies. We're using sport for good, and it's the catalyst of change. And so each of the locations has a legacy project which actually works with the local community. Here we are in the middle of Greenland, and it's about e-mobility and it's about renewable energy. And the power of having a female driver. Young girls are looking up to Hedda and actually understanding that they too could be a driver in the future. And we're in the middle of nowhere here in the Arctic Circle, and we've got kids that have an aspiration to be sports stars, and why shouldn't they? It's one of the parts of the job that makes me and our team feel very, very good about being here.
I'm really grateful to be here in Greenland, and this is an amazing championship that is not only focusing on sports, it's focusing on the bigger picture and what is actually important in the world. The trip itself was something I will bring with me for the rest of my life.
It's great to be a part of this championship, that you got this opportunity to travel to these places like this one in Greenland. It's an incredible experience and a memory for life.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Copper X Prix. Qualifying round 1 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Nasser Al-Attiyah wandering through the back of the command centre there and just giving Timmy Hansen a little fist pump. Timmy waiting for his teammate Katie Munnings to take the start, and then of course after that Nasser's new teammate Clara Anderson. So Clara Anderson in for Jutta Kleinschmidt after Jutta was injured yesterday during free practice. Katie Munnings was flying during free practice yesterday, very impressive indeed. Jenny, this is one of the teams that we beat last year as Andretti United feel like they're, I don't know, just got a bit of a run of bad luck.
There's a few teams you think that should have more points
Yes.
that they do, and this is definitely one of them, alongside Veloce, McLaren and the App Cooper team who are coming up next as well. So let's see if the luck can turn around, because it seems like Chip Ganassi finally got there last time with the win, so maybe it's somebody else's turn to get just that little bit more luck. But Munnings certainly proving that she's very comfortable in that number 23 car now. She's at 1 with the Genesis Andretti United, and her and Timmy Hansen making a great pairing if they can just get the car safely back.
That was Katie that was saying, if you remember, about needing momentum, and that's a great example of it. You come down off the ridge line onto this long straight at the back. Now, I think that was second difference nothing over the course of a long run, but getting through here, look, little steering inputs, not too much, and carry the speed through the corner. Yeah, these cars are quick, but everybody has the same equipment, and this is quite a fast-flowing course in places, technical in others, but you need to carry that momentum. All the drivers are saying it's very different from anywhere we've been before. I think we've had vast expanses, Jenny, haven't we, that we've blasted across, and now we've got a very twisty course. Katie's some 5-6 seconds down there, so I wonder if surely not an issue already for them, or is she just having a cautious start?
I hope it's not an issue. The car doesn't look to be going at full tilt, because you can actually throw it around this track pretty well. There aren't too many hazards waiting for you. It's a wide course. So I just wonder if there's a slight issue for her. She's losing time again, so 8 seconds down now.
We are, of course, comparing her to championship leader Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski at the minute, who was particularly quick. So, you know, if we compare that to Emma Gilmore and Tamara Molinaro, it would be a closer time. But that, you know, that's a sign of the dominance of RXR, Rosberg X Racing. But Munnings was quick yesterday. That's her outlap. This is the other thing you see, Jenny, is they're going to learn this circuit more than they've learned other ones. And it's the first time, really, we shouldn't refer to it as a circuit. It's a course. But you can see when it only takes 2 minutes to go around it, the drivers start to look for tenths in every corner instead of, oh, you know, there's a bit here and a bit there. You're hunting for those tenths everywhere.
Let's have a look how Katie deals with this slingshot, because I've seen plenty of different lines. If you are into your Formula One, it's a little bit like Zandvoort. You can take the high road, which Katie's doing just there, slingshot your way around. You can take the low road as well. We've seen that done across the course of free practice, but now, there we go, seems to be a little happier in this section, catching. Yeah, catching at the bottom through a few of the waypoints there. We have a little waypoint. We'll give you an update on the timing at the bottom. So catching, if it's green, means they're catching that the quicker times. Up over the top of the crest, carry the speed down here, and then the long straight afterwards. So just a reminder, the Continental Traction Challenge, those are the double flags coming up on the horizon that you can see. Waypoint 9 is the start of that. So at this point, you want to go as fast as you can, because your aggregate across the weekend, your best times here, can lead to an extra 5 points if you and your teammate are the fastest. So you can see that corner was off camber over a crest. This one through a dip. Now watch on the exit. She may well use the hyperdrive here, but that's what we're seeing the teams do. Katie, I don't think is going to this time. And that's to carry a bit of extra pace up the hill. So you know a hyperdrive gives you 4 seconds of extra power. And that's where most of the teams, certainly this morning, have shown their hand, is just have a little boost of grunt up the hill where you need it. This is the jump that Jutta Kleinschmidt got wrong. Katie flies it nicely. Yeah, at the end of the Continental Traction Challenge as well. So good marker points as she comes round, swings the car in. Timmy Hansen will now be waiting for her. The switch zone beckons down to 30 kilometers an hour. When they reach there, they have to press a button which automatically slows the car to that limit. They had a few technical hiccups last time out, but you should press the button, slow the car, and get ready. It's the Munnings Mumble to switch over and give it to Hansen. Katie's not on the pace I expect her to be on there, so something hasn't gone quite right for me, Jenny. 17.5 is a little further away than I would have expected Katie to be, particularly after yesterday's free practice session when they were right up there. Talking about free practice, if you missed it, you can go and find the Shakedown show online, and that'll give you an idea of what happened with Jutta Kleinschmidt. Sending our best to her for a recovery. She's been replaced this weekend, as we said, by Clara Anderson, who you'll see in the very next car, actually, with Nasser Al-Attiyah. But Jutta was in good spirits when she got out of the car. Just trying to have a listen in on what they're saying.
I don't know why. Okay.
What did she say there?
Turn the power back on, Timmy, before doing your belt. Power on. Right, yeah. Timmy, it seems to be after big jumps, it's still hitting the bump stop and then the steering goes.
Right, so there we go. That answers our question straight away. So they're doing a reset on the car. Timmy needs to get his harness over his hands device. So Timmy's harness is not over his hands device. He'll be penalised for that if he doesn't get it up on top. He's realised and he's put back on the top there. They have to be fully safe. That door net has to be in. And Katie's saying that after the big jumps, the big impacts, they're having a problem with the steering. So he's done the reset. They don't lose any time in the switch zone. There's a minimum amount of time they have to spend in there. They've managed that pretty well. So let's wait and find out what happened with Katie Munnings. Here she is.
Katie, cutting a slightly frustrated figure here, and we heard you in the switch zone there saying a few things. Is there an issue with the car?
Yeah, just power steering. From quite early on in the track, it's just, I don't know. I think it should be okay for Timmy now. We've been able to reset it, but it was quite intermittent, so hard to push in these conditions.
How much pace do you think you lost?
Oh yeah, I mean, I couldn't commit to anything because halfway through it was cutting, and I couldn't catch it. So it's a shame for us on quali, but. You know, it's still early in the weekend and everything counts for the semi, so we'll keep positive and hopefully Timmy can just get a good feeling now. We've been able to reset the car, so hopefully he should have a good lap.
Hard luck this morning. Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, it just didn't look like the normal Katie Munnings style around it. A little bit more timid than I would have expected, and as she said, a power issue for them. Now, resetting the car does take a moment, but in that switch zone, they're kind of safe because they have to stay there for 45 seconds anyway, and it certainly looks like Hansen's going at full power now. Yeah, it does. So it's the steering she was referring to. What she was saying is, I can't catch it. So you have to understand, in your road car, drive your road car, you know, when you stall the engine, the power steering stops, or if someone's pushing you along and the power steering's not on, how heavy it is. Now, times that by about 10, because these cars have got a quick rack in, meaning that the steering, you don't have to turn as much to make the steering turn more. That's what you have in race cars, rally cars. Also, the Continental wheels and tyres, of course, they're huge, so there's more momentum in those. So now if you get the car sideways suddenly, you've got a tall car with a lot of momentum, a lot of weight in it. If you can't react immediately with the steering, you can't catch it, and that's what Katie's saying. So when Laura said, how much time have you lost? I couldn't commit to anything because she can't make those fine adjustments, Jenny. And if we watch Timmy, you'll see tons
to them in every corner.
Yeah, it's so marginal, isn't it? At every corner, every moment on this course. So around he goes anyway for his second lap over this big jump at the finish. Well, they'll do 2 laps each. So still plenty of time to be made up here. Down at the moment by almost 18 seconds. So plenty of time to be found, as we said. And remember, this is only the first part of qualifying. We go qualifying again later on.
I think what's important here, Jenny, is the fact that he isn't losing any more time. So yeah, we're comparing him now to the second laps, which was Faust, Kristoffersen, Scheider so far. Kristoffersen, the pace set, he was about 3 seconds quicker than Faust was, and Timmy is only losing a couple of seconds to them, which is nothing basically. So yeah, hopefully back up. If it continues to go the wrong way, then I'd say he's got the same problem. But it's a shame for Katie, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, unfortunate, but as we said, another chance to go again later on today, and we will see, because it's an accumulation of points across today that lead you into tomorrow. You really want to avoid the crazy race. That's the key for tomorrow's action. So just get yourself into a semi-final rather than the crazy, and you stand a better chance of getting into the final.
Yeah, your odds are much better, aren't they? There is Katie, super disappointed.
They've got the lighting right, haven't they, in the Vodafone Business Command Centre?
Certainly
it's blue.
From Genesis colours, yeah, it's done them proud, hasn't it? I wonder, so this is the section, I say, where we thought Katie might use a hyperdrive, but again, Jenny, you don't want a boost of extra power when you're already struggling to hang on to the car. So that's where we've seen a lot of the teams using it, is on that run up the hill for that little bit more momentum. 20 seconds down now, so just a couple of seconds lost.
Just to add to the misfortune, they've got a 46-second time penalty for speeding in the switch zone area as well for car number 23. So more problems to add to their day, which isn't going great. We said they needed good luck.
46 is huge. I'm trying to remember, because it's based, isn't it, on how quick you were going in the switch zone. We'll check after the session, see exactly what it was. Oh dear. Okay, well there we go. Not the best start for Genesis Andretti United. They slot into P4, some 21 seconds off. But as Jenny has just told you, they're also due a 46-second time penalty, and unfortunately, it's going to see him at the bottom of the timesheet. Timmy Hansen puffing his cheeks out there as well. I reckon he might have had the same issue. There it is, Jenny. 1 minute and 7 off with the penalty applied. Yeah, the hand steering went for Timmy as well. He's done well there, hasn't he, not to lose more time?
He's done really well then if he had the same issue.
Yeah, you can hit power steering is all we heard. That's enough. Thumbs up. You're right, Katie. Go again in the next session.
Tough workout for them, eh?
We haven't had steering issues either for a while now. You know, with the big updates on the car prior to Sardinia, the Fox dampers that we've seen on the cars, some stronger hardware on the steering.
3 minute signal, 3 minute signal.
Well, there we go. You're hearing race control just saying 3 minutes to the next car, but that, what a way to start your weekend.
Yeah, certainly not what they would have hoped for. They'll have to come back really hard when it comes to qualifying just to push themselves through. And unfortunately for them, it's a case of hoping somebody else goes worse, I suppose. Next car up will be the Apt Cupra car, but let's replay you a little bit of action from on board the Andretti United car.
So it's drone shot as they come down towards the finish line. Up and over the crest, you can see how long you can fly it there. They're just about getting over the crest of the down ramp. You always want to try and land on a down ramp. Landing to flat is a hard impact, and that's what happened to Yuta yesterday. Not only did she put it on the nose, but she landed to flat. She hit the jump some 20 kilometers an hour faster than Johan Kristoffersen, so full commitment, but unfortunately it just flew at the wrong angle and didn't go the way she wanted.
So in comes Clara Anderson. She's just 22 years old, but she has been an ace in rallycross. She's one of the drivers to watch out for, and certainly when it comes to looking around for a female to join your team, she'll be right up there. Couldn't do it last time. Actually, she was scheduled to take part in the first race of this season, but then got COVID. Yeah. Couldn't take part.
She did do the rookie test last year, and also, of course, she's been the championship driver at a couple of events, as Jenny said. So into the car this time. No pressure alongside Nasser Al-Attiyah, the Dakar legend. But Clara's been doing a good job herself. She won her class in Swedish rallycross last year, rear-wheel drive category there, and she's just come fresh off a podium at the Portuguese round of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. She's the first woman ever to stand on the podium in the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Brilliant performance by her for the CE dealer team. That's an electric series as well, so she's got some experience of electric four-wheel drive, but this is a very different kettle of fish than what she was driving last weekend.
How best do you overcome those nerves on the start line?
It's such a personal thing. For me, this is the point at which it really starts to build up. You get the 1 minute board. Look, she's just flexing her fingers out. There'll be some processes that you go through. You can be helped a lot by the team as well. And we've said, haven't we, how much we know Johan has helped in various little things. I remember he said something funny to Molly, didn't he, once when she got in the car, and he said something witty to her just when she got in the car. Your team can be in your ear now and just saying, chill, you're all good, no expectations here, get out, get it round. They may have told her, we want you to absolutely send it, but a process.
She has been out. She did a shakedown this morning in the championship vehicle, so she at least knows a little bit because everybody else went out yesterday for practice. So let's see, she's used to taking a start if she does rallycross.
Yeah.
So she's got an eye across to the light, and when it goes green, off she can go, and the timing beam will be cut, and it will start.
I'm really pleased for Clara. She's absolutely lovely. I've met her on numerous occasions in various different rallycross paddocks, and this is a great opportunity for her. One of the things that's so fantastic about Extremely, of course, is that we've seen some of these brilliant women drivers who you might not have seen if you're not into if you're not a rallycross nerd, you won't have seen some of these drivers before. And I'm enjoying the fact that we're seeing them get their moment in the spotlight. This is a big spotlight on Anderson now. She'll want to do a good job for Al-Attiyah because we know that Al-Attiyah is competitive among the males.
Yeah, once again, they were beset by problems. They've only got 6 points in this championship so far, but they had so many process issues last time out. They got huge penalties. So it's about bringing this car home, but it's also about being smart when it comes to switch zones, not panicking too much, just taking a breath. Learn from everything that Jutta Kleinschmidt clearly would have tried to help her with. And we do wish Jutta the very best and get well soon, but let's see what Anderson can do out there. And you can see in green she is catching at the moment.
Yeah, a couple of seconds lost in those first sectors. You can just see the inevitable, you said it, Jenny, at the start, the inevitable nerves. She's got the weight of a, don't forget, this is effectively a manufacturer-backed squad. Cupra are backing this, so that they've got the bodywork of the Cupra Tavascan, I think it is, on the car. Along with Hummer, of course, done the same with the Hummer EV for Chip Ganassi Racing. So that's why their bodywork looks different. Underneath, it's exactly the same car, but it's that team with the manufacturer behind it, and they signed Nasser Al-Attiyah. That was a brilliant signing at the start of this year. She's only 5 seconds down at this point. This is her second lap in the car this weekend. All the other drivers have had 4 laps up to this point. She would have had a record this morning. Maybe she might have got 2 laps. She might have got 2 laps, but that would have been it.
So let's see what she's doing. She comes out of that Continental Traction Challenge. She wants to carry as much speed through. You could hear Andrew talking about the momentum of this car, the swing of it, the rhythm that you can find yourself into. And these drivers have so much experience. Even though Clara is a young woman, she still has plenty of car experience. So she knows what she's doing. And really, as soon as you can get in the car and into your momentum, you're going. The nerves go away, don't they? You're just fully focused on driving this car as fast as you can to try and help out your teammate as much as you can.
Yeah, you're just full of adrenaline, maximum focus, on board with her now. Look, sunglasses on for the low sun. Just flicking the car around underneath her, watching those inputs. 11 seconds down now. I wouldn't be remotely concerned about that as a first run in the car. And, Jenny, you may have said as well, she competes in rallycross. So one of the advantages Clara does have over maybe some of the other female competitors is she's very used to door-to-door racing. So that the thing of getting her elbows out and getting stuck in Q2 is not going to bother Clara at all. Where some people, that would have been another thing to learn. She's got that nailed already.
Yeah, just doing a good, steady job out there, and I think that's all you can ask for at the moment. You've got a certain amount, a certain degree of learning that you have to go through in these cars. Clara at a big disadvantage, so she just needs to soak it all up.
Well, let's not forget as well that we're comparing her time here to Kristofferson's teammate, Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski, who was 7.5 seconds quicker than Emma Gilmore, than Tamara Molinaro. You can't talk about Katie because she had a power steering problem. So if you take that off, she's actually only 5-6 seconds off the pace of the championship regulars so far. So, yeah, good run for Clara, I think, on her first outing.
Al-Attiyah will be getting himself into position in the switch zone. Now, the switch, as I said, something that they've not really mastered so well. Last time out, we saw the team getting the hustle on and saying, come on, go, go, go. But actually, it didn't help at all. So it'll be interesting to see if they've just changed that up. Of course, different person in the car, but how relaxed can they be? How instilled in the memory, can they make it? Because that's one of the things they need to do, just take the pressure out.
We did say that, didn't we? It was one of the things we felt that some of the teams really needed to up their game in terms of switch. It's that one, it's time limited. Some of the teams are sitting there for 10 seconds waiting to go, all fully chilled, ready to push the button, ready to go.
That would so be us, wouldn't it? We'd so be all over that.
We would, actually, yeah, I think we would, Jenny. I reckon we would. I mean, yeah, we can handle getting in and out of a car, can't we?
The other bit, I'm not so sure about.
We're making it sound very easy, but as you'll see in a moment, it's not that easy. So Sebastian Loeb last time having a right moan, wasn't he, about the door net, which he didn't like and used a particularly un-television friendly word to describe. It wasn't that bad.
We translated it. It was fine.
But he wasn't happy about it. But it's all those things. There's been some clarification in between the events about what you can do. You can have 2 sets of crutch belts. So they're the belts that come up from the bottom of the seat over your lap. And they're really critical because the driver moves forward or backward. You might see a seat insert come in or out. So you can have 2 sets of those, but the other belts have to be a single set. So out comes Clara. In goes Nasser. Now Clara's going to help with his belts on the outside. You can see his comms lead up on top of his crash helmet. She pulls over the left strap for him, and now she's going to do up the door net. That's the thing which so delayed X44 last time. Door shut, so Clara's done her bit. Left side of the harness is on.
They're really heavy doors, actually. When I got into one of the Odyssey 21s, I was surprised at how heavy it is, how hard it is to manoeuvre into the seat alone. So
yeah, it's a long way in. You've got to climb over both the bodywork and the roll cage. That's a good switch.
Calm.
You're sitting waiting. That's what you want. 5 seconds is enough, but you don't want it to be 2. You don't be looking up, have I got time, have I got time, go, 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 press the button, go. It's no good. That's when you end up getting penalties and mistakes. So Al-Attiyah now will be comparing his split times to Johan Kristoffersen. He uses the hyperdrive immediately. So that's interesting. We've not seen that. He obviously feels there's a lot to be gained, and he's right, because look at the speed now, carrying it all the way out the start-finish straight. Interesting.
Really interesting, considering that his car number 5, it does give a little bit of the game away, potentially, to show what they're going to plan on doing, but I think it's a really good tactic to try and use. Really flat, loads of traction there. They can really knuckle down for those 4 seconds, and as you say, take a lot of that speed in. Now, Al-Attiyah, one of just 4 of the drivers who have actually driven in Chile before. Not here, admittedly, but it's a very unique atmosphere to be in.
Yeah, he was over here for the Dakar, of course. The Dakar rally was over in South America for a number of years. It's now in Saudi Arabia, but it was over here, I can't remember how many years for, I think from the mid-noughties, maybe, no, late noughties, I think it started over there. Unbelievable terrain, of course, just vast expanses of landscape. Al-Attiyah 18.2 down, so he's not denting that lead too much. He has gone fastest in that first sector by some 4 seconds, according to the timing screen. Now,
4 seconds worth of hyperdrive.
Yeah, don't forget though, that's in comparison to the sector 1 will also be from the finish line round to sector. It's a bit of a weird one because sector 1 comes from 2 different places. One of them is from the exit of the switch zone, and the other one is from sector 4 round to the end of sector 1. So it's hard to compare, but definitely a good move on the hyperdrive.
Really interesting. Jutta was also fast there yesterday. Before she had her incident in the car, she set one of the fastest times in that sector 1. So that car really likes sector 1. Whatever they've done, it likes that part of the course.
Yeah. I'll tell you the other car that looked dialed is the one that's coming in next, which is the GMC Hummer EV, Veloce Racing. Both Kyle Leduc, their team manager as well, they've kind of been using the word dialed. I think they're loving this course. Him and Sarah Price are used to that kind of trophy truck style of racing, and this track is much more in that vein. So I'm excited to see what they can do on their run, which is coming up after Abt Cupra.
I really like watching Al-Attiyah drive. I like the style of it, the flair, the kick out, everything.
Look at the amount of rocks, Jenny, in that big banked bend. When you've got a pack there, those rocks are massive. And you won't see any screens broken, but you are going to see impacts from those. But also it's cutting up just a little bit. The track was very damp this morning when we first started the session. Bear in mind it's morning in Chile. I know we're afternoon here in Europe. And that was where they'd wetted the track down with seawater. What we've yet to discover is is whether that was quicker or slower. There were certain points which were off camber which definitely looked slower when they were down, but there'll be other places where the traction would have been up a little bit. So we don't really know which way the track is developing yet.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And this track will develop across the course of the weekend because it's being used so many times. You pointed out yesterday, Andrew, that they're doing 4 laps. They've not done 4 laps anywhere else. So like for like, if you're trying to compare, it's quite difficult to compare a lap 3 to a lap 4. But the lap 4 is what the guys are on right now. Al-Attiyah bringing it round. Going decently. They only get 1 hyperdrive per 2 laps, so each driver can only deploy once.
They've updated his sector 1, so they've updated it so it wasn't as quick as it showed. But sector 2, he's fastest there by literally a couple of hundredths. So Al-Attiyah is on a massive push here. He wasn't quite as quick in sector 3, didn't use, because he used his hyperdrive earlier, where some of the other drivers haven't. He's coming through. This is the very, very fast last corner, and now we'll go flat out over the finish. And it's P4 for them. So into 4th, 20.5 seconds off. A little bit of work to do, but it's Clara Anderson's first time in the car. There she is in the command centre.
Good job.
Yeah, I think so. Nerves, get the nerves out of the way. No major issues, good switch.
I don't know if the nerves ever get out of the way. You know, I know they'll diminish every time you do it.
The more you do it, the more it becomes routine, doesn't it?
I'm a nervy person.
Me too.
Can't help it.
Me too. But it can help bring out a performance. That's the other thing, is you can harness it and use it in the right way. It's whether or not you let it dominate you or not.
Yeah.
We're going to have a chat, actually, in the command centre with Kyle Leduc, who's going to be up next. So Sarah Price will be in the GMC Hummer EV down on the start line. Kyle Leduc is in the command centre. Kyle, good to see you there. We've seen on your social media, we keep seeing the word dialed from you and various members of the team. This place looks like it's built for you guys. How are we feeling ahead of going out for your Q1 run?
Yeah, there's been a lot of people saying that same thing, but that puts a lot of pressure on us, right? No, like I said, we are dialed. The car is in a really good place. We've really locked in the suspension. I think we're really confident with the setup, and both of us are super confident behind the wheels. So that's 9/10 of the game right there. But we had a good practice 1, practice 2. Always room for improvement. We're not both at the top of the charts, so we've been working hard, talking about it, reviewing a lot of. Burned about 50 laps on this track last night, and ready to go out there for qualifying today.
Is there a group tactic between you guys, Kyle? Because obviously the 3 teams trying to chase down Rosberg X Racing are you, the Sainz Acciona team, and X44. How are you going to try and stop them getting enough points this weekend to keep the challenge and the championship alive?
Well, we haven't quite started an alliance yet, but I think we all have the same end goal. You know, we want. I mean, good job to them. They're winning races, and they're both super fast drivers. So hats off to them. But we are a team that is determined. So we're gonna keep pushing. You know, this Chip Ganassi GMC Hummer EV team is definitely always one to watch. But we need to have more moments, more times on the podium to try to nip this championship back.
All right, we wish you and Sarah the best of luck. Go and get it.
Thanks, dude.
It's a thumbs up from Kyle Leduc. Very much looking forward to seeing just how hard they are willing to go. There is the Vodafone Command Centre, suitably dusty.
3, 2, 1. 1 minute signal.
1 minute until Sarah Price will head off then for GMC Hummer EV, Chip Ganassi Racing. They've taken that win. They'll want another win, Jenny. They'll want a win which doesn't involve the stewards. You want to cross the line first. They should have had that in Sardinia last year when they were miles in front and had that issue with the car, which was gutting for them. But the monkey's off the back in terms of getting the win, but they've got to get more. They've got to beat RXR here. If RXR win, this is over. So it's all in now, all in.
32 points is the gap between Chip Ganassi Racing and RXR. So let's see what they can do going out there. They need a bit of luck. They're starting in position 1 for this session. So let's see. Eyes on that red sign, which will go
15 seconds.
There we go. 15 seconds is the count, and Sarah Price waiting eagerly to get her first spin in qualifying and see what she can do around this Copper X Prix track.
See on the dashboard there the little D light flashing. That's to say it's in drive. It's not the transmission home if you drive an automatic car. Bit of wheel spin off the line, and now it's about carrying as much speed as you can up through those first turns as we ride off over this. This is the view you'll see on the start. Remember, this will be 5 cars next session later on today. Now it comes into the right-hand side. There's a reminder of the Inoa hyperdrive, a little boost for 4 seconds. We may see people use that off the start, Jenny, but either way, I know we're going to see people passing in these 2 corners. You've got a right, then a left, then a right. It's going to be exceptionally busy off the start.
Yeah, that slingshot as well looks like it's cutting up quite nicely, so it's going to make it even more difficult. You don't want to really get yourself in the ruts. You want to stay high if you can, but some people choosing a totally different strategy and going low. So fascinating to watch the different types of entry, exit and lines through these courses.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? When you're running on your own, you take the line which is best for momentum. When you are trying to pass somebody, you don't care about momentum as long as you get the pass done. You might lose a bit of time to somebody else in front or behind you, but a block pass, you know, go in deep, push them wide, push them up the banking, shower them in dirt, whatever you have to do to get the pass done, because from now on, it's about position. You know, can you win it and get more points in qualifying for winning that race in Q2? Can you win your semi-final, your crazy race and progress through? So once we get into racing, your lap time and momentum isn't quite so important. Hyperdrive up the hill, that's where we know the pace is.
Yep, so they're very confident in this tactic of using it up the hill, much like we saw with McLaren. They used it up the hill as well, bringing as much speed as you can into this Continental Traction Challenge section, as well as they just pop out of that, take some air as well. A lovely landing on the descent there for Sarah Price. She's giving it everything here. And this is a course where you can do that. It's safe for the cars. You can really push it. The new Fox suspension as well, meaning you don't have to take so many risks. You can just go out there and go fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Full commitment we saw, didn't we? It made such a big difference in Sardinia. For me, it's the best upgrade we've had on the car, without a shadow of a doubt. 3 seconds down after the first lap. That's very, very much in touch. Remember, it was only RXR's Christophersen's teammate, sorry.
Michaela Arnott-Kokolinski.
The Mac, Britannia Mac. It was only Michaela. Our timing screen's only showing, yeah, the one set of names. Apologies, Michaela. I wished her happy birthday the other day, and it was a month too early. So
you are getting it all right.
I'm getting it all wrong. I'm going to have to buy her a drink, aren't I? But Michaela was so quick. As we said, she was 7 seconds up the road. So if Sarah keeps this pace up, she'll be bang on the pace of the drivers who've gone before her.
They've already said that their experience coming into this, doing the American-style truck racing, really helps them to try and tackle this course. It's almost like it was designed to give them every chance. It's not. This is just the way that the calendar drops out. But this one, I think, for them is a little bit of a home advantage when it comes to what they're having to deal with out there.
Yeah, the style of the track suits the style of racing which they've both done the most of. We've had tracks, haven't we, where we felt it suited Loeb, or it suited Sainz, it suited the Dakar drivers, or yeah, the rallycross drivers. But this one is definitely one that would be to their advantage, and they need that result, Jenny. They've got to beat RXR, and as you alluded to in the question with Kyle Leduc just before this session, they need the other teams to beat RXR as well to take this to the final round.
Yeah, they certainly do. A little bit of stone and rock just bouncing around out there, as you can see. When there are 5 cars on track later, that could be more of an issue. But just thinking about what they need to try and do, they need to try and get the Traction Challenge away as well. They need to try and get as many points as they can to take them away from Rosberg X Racing.
Yeah, I'm looking at Sector 3 on the timing screen, and at the minute it's Christophersen who's quickest with a 34.586. But bear in mind that Continental Traction Challenge is both drivers together. So what we don't have is we don't have the Michaela's data on screen as well. Once you add that up together, and at the end of this session they'll publish a standings, and from then on we can see what that gap is. But those 5 points are absolutely critical.
Yeah, be fascinating to see how it shakes down. So into the switch zone. They've had a couple of issues along the way, but I think they've refined their technique, and the number 99 car now goes into the first bay. They'll do the switch. Remember, only one technician, mechanic, engineer, whoever it may be, allowed into that zone, along with the 2 drivers. Out comes the insert, just discarded there. They'll pick it up, it's fine.
I like the way Kyle climbs in. He uses the steering column. It's very much grab that, climb in. Yeah, it's dialed, like they say the car is.
Second nature now as well to them. It's going automatically, isn't it? They're not having to think about it too much. They just do it. Interesting, it's got a nice pair of sunnies on because it is bright out there. The only other relevant experience you could have, by the way, is if you've been on the moon and driven.
Yes, well, they said, didn't they, in their interviews, it's like being on Mars. Interesting there, Kyle was going to call the other team member over. I noticed, Jenny, they didn't use both team members to do the harnesses. It was just Sarah. So Sarah was there, he's going to call him over, and then he said, no, we're good, and they shut the door.
Good stuff, right. So limited to 30 kilometers an hour. You can see the salt flats in the background. It's a beautiful location to go racing in Chile. Cold at night, warm in the day. Nightmare to pack for.
Yeah, windy, wasn't it? We've seen the Dust Devils.
Right, we're off again then, and this will be Leduc. What can Kyle do out there? We know he has an aggressive style, sometimes too aggressive, but can you be too aggressive around this track?
I don't know. What was the gap when they came in? It wasn't much, was it? It was, so 8 seconds down now would see them straight into P2. So this would see them into P2. I think making up 8 seconds on Kristoffersson will be a big ask, but they'd be very happy with P2 because that would massively put them in touch in the next session. So good run, very good run by Sarah Price in the car, first of all. An impressive start by her, keeping Kyle Leduc in touch.
Remember, this is only the first of another 5 cars set to go out, so they've still got to protect as well. They've got to think forward. There's a lot of good and fast cars still to come, including top qualifiers from last season. They've dropped off a little bit this year, but X44.
Look at the commitment over the crest there from Kyle Leduc, absolutely on the limit. The car just floating underneath in that beautiful moment where you're just floating on the limit of grip over the top of a crest. There on the brakes, they're coming down the hill, just dips into the sand at the bottom, then back on the, I was going to say the gas pedal, throttle pedal. No gas involved, of course, until we get to the hydrogen power, to Extreme H, you know, then we can get back on the gas pedal.
Interesting, no hyperdrive yet that I've seen for Kyle Leduc. Didn't use it going up the hill in lap 1, so maybe that's a lap 2 treat for us.
Yeah, they've done lap 2 most of the while, so interesting. Oh yeah, that way at least, if you were to have a half spin, for instance, your best recovery would be to use the hyperdrive to get away, like we saw with Nasser Al-Attiyah from a standing start. So doing it on the second lap is giving yourself a reserve in case you have an issue somewhere else and you want to try and not lose too much time. Here we go with the big jump on board. Oh yes. Yeah, full send.
I would like to see people with scorecards down at the bottom of that jump. It's just such a beautiful opportunity, and it just looks absolutely fantastic on our cameras. The drone shots, racing to keep up with the GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi racing car, the number 99, dashing through the desert.
There's that rocky banked bend through now the right-hander, and then watch trying to carry the speed when they try and come onto this back straight. So they come up over the top of the ridgeline up here. We watched Timmy Hansen yesterday. He came through this long left-hander, so it's kind of double apex. And Timmy was on the throttle the whole way through, but he ran the nose a bit wide and he had to lift. And I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to carry as much speed as possible through to this drop and then onto the straight. And it was too much, and the car was going to run wide, and he had to lift. So yeah, that's the payoff. That's what they're trying to do, is to carry the momentum through. Great job by Leduc here as he enters the Continental Traction Challenge. Let's see if he goes for it this time. Not denting the lead too much. There's been sectors where he's catching and sectors where he's not, but he is very much on the pace of Kristoffersson.
Yeah, looks so rapid at the moment as he dips down. He's just on a 31.3 in Sector 2. What can he do in this Traction Challenge? He uses the hyperdrive up the hill. We expected it to do it. Over the crest, he goes up high, jumps down, then he swings it round to the left, then to the right, and takes that wide looping line. The dirt kicking up in the air as well. He's catching.
That's exactly the same place we saw Kristoffersson have a moment on his second lap. So it seems the hyperdrive, Jenny, makes you jump a little bit too much over the crest and then turn in. He went big over Juta's jump as well. Now he's just trying to carry as much speed as he can through to the finish line. This, I think, is going to see the P2. It's very close between them and Neil McLaren Extreme E up. He's got 1 sector to go now, coming down for the jump. Can they nick second place? They can! Into P2. Price and Leduc, who are the closest to RXR in that championship fight. Fist pump from Leduc because they know they've got the job done here in Q1. Great job by him and Sarah Price, and it's on.
And it certainly is, because he's just taken the fastest Sector 3, which is the Traction Challenge, if I'm not mistaken, and he's done it by an absolute whisker, by 600ths. So it's really close between the two of them, between Leduc and Kristoffersson, and you can just see the Traction Challenge postings up there, the combined times looking a little different.
Look,
but my word, Leduc did a great shout to get himself ahead of Kristoffersson's time, because this changes throughout the course of the weekend. You can set your fastest time across any different session.
That what'll be interesting there, Jenny, is the track degradation, won't it? Whether or not it gets quicker or slower. 0.32 of a second between. So Neil McLaren, Emma Gilmore and Tanner Faust are really, really close to those 5 championship points. They're not really in the championship fight, being down in P8 at the minute, but that doesn't matter. It's about RXR not getting it. If RXR secure those 5 points, for instance, if the track starts to get slower, then I think the others are all in trouble. The 5 points would effectively, I think, tie the championship up for them. We'll have to check whether or not they can afford to finish in 5th place in the final if they got those 5 points. We'll do some maths tonight and we'll figure it out.
You've hurt my head, just even mentioning that.
But the thing is, you can't guarantee it, because there is a chance the 5 points could be nicked tomorrow, but they can put themselves in a very motorsport pole position to take the series if they get those 5 points. At the minute, they're right up there, but it's close, isn't it, on lap times and on the Continental Traction Challenge. Here's a replay of Leduc through that last sector. Look, as close as you can to the flag on the left, and now light it. There you go. Great job.
Thing of beauty to watch that, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant. I think the design of this course is done really well. You can see the climate, the atmosphere, making it even tougher for our drivers. They're at altitude as well, so some of them finding it pretty heavy going out there, but not Carl Leduc. He made that look relatively easy. Really good job by them, and still 4 more cars to go.
So Kyle Leduc undoes his helmet comms there, and we're going to have a catch-up with Nasser Al-Attiyah with Laura Winter.
It's been quite the 24 hours for Abt Cupra, and Nasser Al-Attiyah is joining me now. I think first things first, and everybody watching at home will want to know how Jutta Kleinschmidt's doing.
Yeah, I think Jutta, she's okay, you know, and I feel really sorry, and also the teams, you know, because she have small crash yesterday, but she's okay, and yeah, this is also the race, and now we have Lara, just to have you know, learn a little bit, you know, and fast, you know, and she did a really good job, and yeah, we are quite happy.
I mean, how is Clara doing? How is she adapting to the car, and how much are you teaching her with all of your vast experience?
It's not enough to teach her, you know, but because, okay, she needs to have more experience of this kind of car, you know, but okay, she's a great driver, and I think just what she did now, it's really a good job, and I think for second run it will be better for her. Now we'll compare all the data and just where she can improve, you know, and yeah, I think we are lucky also to be in the race.
It's early days, Q2 obviously to come. We will see you out on track again very soon. We're going to head back to the action on track. Thank you very much, Nasser Al-Attiyah, and do send our best to Clara as well on her first outing here, and indeed to Jutta as well, who we wish her all the best out there. Thank you very much to Nasser, and we will see you very soon. We still have JBXE, Acciona Sainz, X44, Vida, Carbon Racing, all to come out on track. It's going to be exciting to see how they will take on the single lap quali here, single run quali. Much more to come.
Yeah, thanks to Laura Winter, who's down there doing all the hard work and running around after us whenever something exciting happens, getting all the information. And as you heard from all of us, we wish Jutta Kleinschmidt the very best after her crash yesterday. She's gone for precautionary checks, stayed in hospital overnight, so hopefully she'll be on her way home soon. So these are some of the best bits from the action you've just seen, and as we were talking about, this is car 125, Nasser Al-Attiyah teaming up with Clara Anderson, the newest driver to the pack, and it seems like all of our championship drivers are just taking their moment to shine in the light.
Yeah, championship driver is the stepping stone to getting a drive in the championship, isn't it? Fraser McConnell's surely up next, isn't he? We're just going to have to keep digging deep and trying to find someone to take over, aren't we? But yeah, unfortunate for you, as Jenny said, and just wishing her all the best. That's the most important thing. Q1 coming towards the end of the session. We've got 4 cars left to go. JBXE are up next. They are the only team that have chosen to put the male driver in first, Jenny, and that is going to sculpt the way they go forward this weekend. It varies from session to session.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they've done that. So Kevin in the car first, which means he'll go in second later in the second qualifying session. So it'll be his teammate who has to take the start off the line. And Hedda, we saw her last time out. She was fearless.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she? Yeah. Absolutely got into it door to door. Also used to a bit of race action, so Hedda not too worried about it. So yeah. We don't know why the teams choose to do what they do. What I do like is the fact that they are the first people to alternate the strategy, and that just puts them in a slightly different position to the others, doesn't it, in terms of who's in the car first. We've been comparing the female drivers the whole way through, and now Kevin Hansen's going up against them, and it depends what he comes in with, what kind of a gap he can give Hedda. Hedda's not as experienced as someone like Johan Kristoffersen. We wouldn't expect her necessarily to match his times right now, but last time out he came in, if you remember, and gave her a great lead, and they got the job done and made it through to the final. So
I like the fact that you can either be the chaser or the chase, can't you? And some people respond to that quite differently. Some people like to have the pressure put on them. Some people like to go out from the lead. So that all feeds into it as well. But as you say, JBXE just doing something different and giving themselves an opportunity with strategy just to be on the flip side.
Yeah, they got the podium in round 2 in Sardinia. Unfortunately, only went as far as the Crazy Racing in round 3. That doesn't sound good.
No.
That doesn't sound good at all. So have we picked up something? Have we picked up a different noise about camera there, or is that a noise on board with Kevin? I think it's with Kevin. Yeah, listen to the transmission. So something severe is broken in from the center. I reckon drive shaft. Wouldn't be surprised if it's prop shaft. Well, mind you, might not be a prop. Depends how the transmissions are run. Of course, with electric, could be front and rear separate.
Yeah.
We run a prop shaft on the...
I mean, he's still managing to get the car around. I mean,
they're going to lose tons of time.
Looks horrible at the moment for him, but it's still got some sort of drive and some sort of traction.
He might as well finish the run, because you never know if somebody else is going to go slower.
Get the car back.
It's drive for me, something in drive, Jenny, because going up the hill, he didn't have the traction, so they've lost either 1 or 2 of the driven wheels.
Oops.
Depending on what's broken. Yeah, not ideal. And I didn't see anything really that's sort of smacked. Oh, he's avoided the jump, so he's taken a line to the left. Now, the problem with that, so Kevin's done, I know why he's done that. He's done that to try and look after the car, but he's missed a waypoint. But he might well be thinking, you know what, the 10 seconds for missing a waypoint, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, exactly. Don't give the team too much to do. They may even have been on the radio and said to him, skip the jump, mate.
So in the first and second sectors, he was actually doing a really decent time. He'd made some good times. And then now in sector 3, he's up by 7 seconds on the best time. So it's really trying to drag this car around. But he is taking another lap, which is the most important thing. He's not taking it into the switch. He's not giving up yet. So it's just going to have to be all out for Hansen and Hossas, and this is really going to test Hossas. We've seen power steering go, we've seen some Herculean efforts from some of the drivers through the course of this championship.
But this is something else for Hedda to learn as well, Jenny. Now she's going to have to get into what is effectively a broken car and nurse it round. I'm absolutely certain she'll be capable of it, but it's another skill that she maybe won't have come. Look, she's been in motorsport long enough, she's probably broken a car, but whether she's broken one as big and heavy as an Odyssey 21, I don't know.
I wonder if there's anything they can do as a temp fix when they come into the switch, so it's such a catastrophic problem. That's the thing, isn't it? But just do your chest pumps and you get out there and see what you can do.
Have a look from here and see if we can see either of the wheels spinning more. You can hear how much it's struggling to get up the hills. It could even be, you know, the failure of a motor affecting either the front or the rear.
Yeah, so now they're under investigation for missing the finish line gate. Now, we've seen that happen before, and it was a whopper of a penalty. It wasn't just a normal waypoint, it was 30-second penalty.
Because it was the finish.
Yeah, but it's not the finish.
Yeah, so it's not the finish. It's actually a waypoint. I get what they're saying. They're calling it the finish because it's not, probably doesn't have a number. That's how they refer to it. Right, so we get the radio coming in there.
Something number 2.
Yeah, it might well be a dash position,
or
Jenny.
it might just be which position. Oh, bay 2. So get it into bay 2,
right,
probably.
Listen in.
What do you want first out? Jack.
Right, they're taking the jack.
Doesn't look like a puncture. I can't see a puncture.
No. Right, Kevin's talking about more front torque, says he knows there's an issue with the car, that they were saying, Jack, he said, I can't see a puncture. Bear in mind, the guys down there at Switchstone probably can't see the feed.
Didn't hear what we heard. seeing if we can hear anything.
Yeah, I don't think we need to power cycle. Det är som att köra en framhjulsdriven bil. Det är något trasigt tillbaka. Det är något trasigt tillbaka.
So they're not going to power cycle.
När vi har power cycle.
They don't think that's going to help.
It was mechanical, Jenny. You could hear it. You know, for something electric, yeah, you restart it like you do your phone or your Mac or your PC. But it's tight on the belts. Look on the side. They're struggling to get that in.
Okay, P2.
Right.
Over the pit speed.
There we go. Telling her about the pit speed limiter. So, yeah, they switched to. So Norwegians and Swedes talk to each other in.
So just coaching her around, saying make sure the pit limiter's on. They don't want to get caught speeding in that zone again, because that's another hefty fine that would befall them and beset them. Severely down on time in that run. Nothing that Hansen can do, but what can Hossas do now she's enabling the power again?
Well, what she can do, Jenny, is try to stay ahead of Genesis Andretti United. So bear in mind they finished, but in a 9:56. So they're around 1:07 back. If you weren't watching earlier, they had a pit lane infringement, basically leaving the switch zone. Now, Timmy, of course, had just cycled the car, so did they have an issue when he cycled the car because Katie had lost her power steering, so did they then lose the power steering? Look how bumpy it is up there. So basically, she just needs to try, lost 16 seconds again already, needs to try and bring it home in under 9:56, and that'll be 9th instead of 10th. It sounds like nothing, but that 1 point, if they had a good result in Q2, might be the difference between a crazy race or a semi, so you've got to try.
You have, and it's all learning experiences as well for Hedda Hossas. You can go out there and just wrestle this car around. It won't be pretty. It won't do what she wants it to do. It won't react in the way she wants it to, but that's neither here nor there. Just get it home.
So we're hearing initial thoughts from the paddock of front right drive shaft, which would go with what me and Jenny thought in commentary here. Just the loud, clattering, banging noises. That's usually a shaft moving around underneath. There are some electric vehicles which run a prop as well. These ones don't, so it's, yeah, drive shaft-wise, not ideal. That'll just change the way the car turns in, but most importantly, it's that steep climb that's coming up now. Watch this and listen in here. This is where it really struggles. Listen to this on the climb. So what happens is you get too much power to the rear, and of course maybe also a little power to the front left, and then the car pulls and the rear wheels spin and you don't get the traction, it doesn't climb as well. 47 seconds down now, coming up 48. She's got a whole nother lap to go. She's only got around 20 seconds in hand. No, yeah, 20 seconds in hand on Genesis Andretti United.
Yeah,
is she going to miss the finish line, Jenny?
Yeah, that's the question. Will they take it? Will they not take it? If she misses it again, of course, that's another investigation. It's hard to take that one slowly and still not do anything to the car, because the way it's built is a ramp up and straight down. So you can't really just go over. Let's see what she chooses to do. So she's going over it.
But just a thought, Jenny, it's too late, of course, Kevin's done it. So you look at you, so they're 53 down. He'll definitely get 10 for it, which makes it 63, and they've only got 67 in hand. So if she drops another 4 seconds, they're going to end up behind Genesis Andretti United.
But I think for them, the battle is to get the car home.
To
have a DNF here is not the way you want to go. There are still 3 cars to go. So, okay, you might not be able to post a decent time out there because the damage to the car is so high, but just get it home, because we've seen before the difference of just even a few meters can make a difference when it comes to what
Somebody could roll it, they might not make it as far as you, wheel off, puncture. There's all sorts of things that will take longer than a minute.
Yeah, and we've still got X44 Vida Carbon, Veloce Racing and the Acciona Sainz team. So 3 big hitters out there, but 3 that have been beset by problems as we've gone through this championship.
Hedda Hossas there using the handbrake. You can see her reaching down for that. There it is again. She's just pulling on that to try and get a bit of rotation in the car. It'd be feeling very awkward to drive compared to when all 4 wheels have got that drive.
Don't think they're going to be challenging for a time here in the traction challenge, unfortunately for them, but that's not the name of their game right now. Such a shame, because they tried something different. They wanted to, you know, shake things up. They've gone with the different lineup of putting Hansen in first ahead of Hossas, and that will count for not a lot at the minute.
How will that play out in the next session? So in the next session, Hedda Hossas will take the wheel at the start. We know she got her elbows out, and then Kevin Hansen will take over for the second sector, so the second 2 laps of the race. You know, he's going to, well, they're both going to have to race hard and pass, but potentially if Kevin was looking to catch, he's got to catch and pass. So, yeah, different tactics, all still to play for. It's not game over yet. They're all going through to remember, all 10 cars make it through to the semis or the crazy race. Top 2 go through from each 3-car semi-final, and the top 1 goes through from the 4-car crazy race to a 5-car final. So it's not over until you haven't made it to the final, and they will know that. This isn't a big job to fix a drive shaft either, but it's just not what you wanted at the start of your weekend. So
Hottas comes around to take the finish, jumps up over, lands it. Not the time that they would have wanted, down by 1:12, and on average it was about 5 to 6 seconds slower every time. I think
she had no comms. She had no comms. She'd left the comms velcroed to the top of her crash helmet, so when they're turning to remember the pit limiter and everything else, she couldn't hear them anyway.
I would have done that.
But it's stressful, isn't it? And it's even more stressful when you know the car's broken. Good job, I think.
Oh, frustrating for them. Let's go down and try and find out exactly what went on.
Kevin Hansen, it sounded like a drive shaft from our end. What was it your end?
Yeah, it was exactly that. Front drive shaft, they broke already on waypoint 11 on the first lap. So it was really, really tricky to drive, but I mean, we got through it, and just a shame. I mean, we had worked really hard overnight to have a good speed, and I think it was good possibility to be up there. So it just put us on the back foot, but you know our team, we never stop fighting.
I know, Kevin, tough break for you. Just tell us, what was the sensation like in the car? How different was it to usual?
Well, very different. I mean, you lose one of the wheels to drive. It's very strange, and I mean, it sends all the power to one front wheel, so it was understeering like crazy. So it was struggling, and over the finish line, you know, with the problem, don't want to take that big jump. You know, it's so risky that early stage, and then we made some adjustments towards the end of the run, and I could take it. So, but yeah, hopefully we don't get a penalty for being safe. I think we did, so yeah, that's strange.
Kevin's just had a look at the time screen. Kevin, thank you, mate. Get yourself back to the paddock, go and get some rest, and you're on a different tactics to all the other teams, so we're looking forward to seeing what you can do in Q2, mate.
Exactly.
1 minute.
We'll be back.
So Kevin there hinting at what they did, Jenny, which allowed Header to take the jump, is they made an adjustment. That was what they were saying with P2, so they basically probably turned the torque down on the front because there's only one wheel turning, so then they felt it was safer to take it. Kevin is feeling a bit disgruntled because he chose to miss the jump. Here it is, look, because they felt it wasn't safe. Now, by that, he means they don't want to damage the car anymore, so I get it, but the stewards have to look at it from just, this is the black and white rule, you missed it, here's a penalty.
Yeah, they've only got 5-second penalty, though, so that's not too dear. It's not cost them hugely, so they've got a huge gap, admittedly. They got around in 10 minutes and 6 seconds, 8.86, the fastest lap time at the moment, an 8:49.216, so big difference.
Yeah, they were just 10 seconds off Genesis Andretti 90, weren't they? Both Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen in their respective teams having bad luck here in Chile. Round 4 of Extreme E 2022, the penultimate round. Are we going to crown the champions here? RXR looking very much bob on for it, but X44 Vida Carbon, if anyone can stop them, these guys can. Up first, Cristina Gutierrez.
Now you would look to Cristina to set a very rapid time out there, then hand over to Loeb, who would do the same again. They've not been quite up with the top qualifier records that they had in the first season of Extreme E, so they need to find a little something out there together. But look, you can just see Cristina making good time out there, doing a good job around there. She feels comfortable in these surroundings and comfortable in that X44 car. Yeah, they won the qualifying, didn't they, at every round last year, and then in the first round this year. Since then, they've been P2 and P3 in qualifying. Bang on the pace, look, 0.02 of a second in it here between Gutierrez and pace setters Rosberg, X-Racing, Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski at the wheel for their first, and now they go faster, so they're half a second up. So this is crucial for them. They want to out-qualify them. More importantly, I think, even than out-qualifying them, Jenny, is that continental traction change. They must steal 5 points off RXR there and pile the pressure on. They've got to do it. This is where we expect them to use the hyperdrive. Certainly the teams so far have used it on that uphill section. Will we see them do that on their second lap? You can hear, can't you, that the car wants the extra power on that steep climb, so you can understand why they're doing it. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, she's used her hyperdrive on the way out. That's interesting. So going into the Continental Traction Challenge, she's using it to give herself as much momentum as she can. She just files down from there.
Yeah, she used it on the exit. Yeah,
sorry, apologies. It was coming out of the Continental Traction Challenge. That's an interesting one.
Well, but when we know yesterday that Yuta flew that jump too far and then put the car on the nose, I don't know, maybe they feel there's more to be gained there. I personally think there's more to be gained on the run up, but they've got to try it, and you know, maybe Gutierrez will do one thing and Sebastian Loeb will do the other, and they'll take the data from both and go, right, next session, this is what you do. The problem with the next session or any other session is you don't know where you'll be in traffic. This is the one time you're in complete control of when you can use the Innova Hyperdrive and where you are on the track. Every other session, you've got other cars out there with you.
Yeah, very clean out there at the moment, isn't it, compared to a race scenario, which we'll see later. So coming around the slingshot, that lovely banked approach that you can really get some speed into, and Christina giving it a roll, currently in second spot, but just a fraction, as you can see, off, and doing a good job out there.
Not so committed through that right-hander, just loses a half a second. Up over the crest now. Up onto ridgeline. This is the straight we were talking about trying to carry the momentum onto. Look how long it is. Now, I can anticipate hyperdrive down here for the purposes of passing. It's not going to get you necessarily a better lap time, but I think we can look to see people maybe using it there during a race scenario if they feel like they might be able to get past. It's a little bit rough offline, but there is a wide expanse of choice of lines.
Also worth remembering when you were talking about the traction challenge that it is the best time of both of the drivers. So Christina has got to go out there and she's got to support Loeb, and they've both got to post that decent time. And when it comes to the gap between the leaders, okay, RXR are out in front on 75, but Chip Ganassi 32 points behind them. Carlos Sainz and Acciona Sainz with Leia Sainz, oh, a bit of over-rotation there, 33 points behind. And X44, this car that you're watching now with Gutierrez, 34 points behind RXR. So when you talk about stealing points away from our championship leaders, they know their task.
Jenny Gale like an Apache pilot there with one eye on the stats and one eye on the screen at the same time. I'm very impressed, I really am.
I think it was half an eye.
It's tough, mate. That was a good save. Like Gutierrez into the switch zone now. Comes Gutierrez, one little sideways moment. That one corner where she just looked like she'd lifted a little bit, not a lot in it, comes in 5.2 down. So it was bang on it on the first lap. They've lost a little bit of time on that second lap. We know that Loeb is mega, but also Kristoffersson is the champion and has been bang on it all year. Loeb will have to do something very special to take those 5 seconds back, but he could.
Really keen to see the position of the car because they've been doing something different down at X44. So they park quite close to the rear barrier. If you can see, they just duck in, and then get going.
Yeah, keeping it as close to the back allows you to get on the gas that little bit earlier. Sometimes they use the handbrake, don't they, and just point it out towards the course so that you can just get away straight. On board with Loeb, they lengthen those harnesses. The little red tags on the harnesses allow you to pull up on the harness and release it, and then you've actually got the bungee cords which pull them away. And the yellow ones there are to help pull down and plug into the lap belts. There you go.
Very day-glow, aren't they?
Yeah, look how colour-coded as well the harnesses are down at the bottom there, just to make sure you're plugging the right one into the right area.
It's Lewis Hamilton's cap colour.
There you go.
It's your glass colour as well.
There you go.
Radical.
Yeah.
Right, Gutierrez out then. Loeb in, right at the back of that bay, gives himself the run out, 30 kilometres an hour. Where will he use his hyperdrive? That's the question.
Slightly slow release, I felt, just from the moment they said go, but Loeb is out. Gutierrez has done a good job, and I think we're going to be able to hear from her now on how that first couple of laps went.
Christina, you were bang on the pace that Michaela set earlier on in that first lap. A sideways moment, though, you just saved it. Talk me through that run.
Yeah, I made a little mistake in the second lap. I lose a little bit of time, but I'm happy with the first lap. I don't know exactly the time, but I'm happy because now the track is a little bit slippery and with more faults. But still okay. We need to see Seb, how he's going, and we'll see.
The pace is there, though. Thanks very much. Good luck.
Well, good luck. Yes, that's what they'll need. They need everything at this moment to go out there and try and wrestle back that time. So we can do a direct comparison, which is the exciting thing between Kristoffersson and Loeb. That was lovely.
It was. That's hard on the car. We've not seen anyone launch it off there. You either go down with just a little bit of throttle and keep the car on the ground, or you take a slightly wider line and sweep diagonally down the bank. But Loeb's just gone, no, I'm just going to chuck it straight off the top there. So nicely done off ridgeline. This is very committed, but so far not really digging into that 5-6 second lead.
I think this goes in hand with the mentality of just give it everything, and you can't do too much damage to the cars. Okay, we saw the drive problem that they had in the JBXE car, but that didn't seem to be because of the course. It didn't seem to have broken. It just gave up the ghost. But we shall see. Hyperdrive.
Same place as Gutierrez. So X44 think that you can use it there, and they reckon then they're carrying the speed down. It's 4-second duration. It might be then that when they land off the jump, there's still a little bit of duration left at that pace. And at the minute, 34.4. Loeb has just gone quickest on sector 3. So have they discovered that using it up the hill isn't as quick as using it down? He's gone a tenth of a second quicker than Kyle LeDuc, who was the quickest in that sector. But it's both the drivers together. Gutierrez using it in the same place. Have they stuck themselves up at the top of those times for the Continental Traction Challenge?
Really interesting. We've seen both Loeb and Gutierrez using these sessions as learning sessions. They're canny, they're wily, and they go out there and they try and do whatever they can to get the fastest time round, and usually it's incredibly successful. Look at the high line round the slingshot Loeb takes. Utterly brilliant.
Great rear shot there on board from Loeb, looking up at our drone. I can tell you a number of the drones will get shot down by rocks this weekend, which is always a bit gutting for the drone pilots. The worst thing is if you can't recover the drone before the next car comes round, then it's even worse.
Crunch time.
Yeah, losing a blade is fine. Losing the whole drone underneath an Odyssey 21 is suboptimal. He is now gaining 4.8, but it's only around a second. Going to have to try really hard because he had the hyperdrive on the last lap, although I noticed it didn't make much difference to the actual gap, but it was a tenth of a second quicker in that sector.
Just catching all the time, as you can see. Where is this going to leave them? That's the question. Where will they slot into? Really decent times being posted by Loeb out there. He loves this course. You can really feel it.
There's your data. Up the hill, you can see full throttle, just a dab of the brake again. You see a little bit of left foot brake. It just rotates the car nicely as our drone pilot returns to base. We cut down the scene and come down towards Copper Corner. That's after this section of the Continental Traction Challenge. That's interesting. Took the jump way slower and nosed it down earlier. Got back on the throttle earlier, but he flew that completely differently to the previous lap, where they used hyperdrive there. Interesting.
Traction Challenger a second off Rosberg X Racing at the moment. They'll need to find some improvement as they come round, jump the finish, a little bit heavy on the front right, lands the car, puts on the brakes. They slot into second position, 5.5 seconds down on Rosberg X Racing.
Yeah, they're 4.2 up on GMC Hummer EV, Chip Ganassi Racing. So Loeb, we think, looking at our sector times change, unfortunately, on our screen, and we lose the first sector round. But I think Loeb was fastest in sector 3 on his first lap by around a tenth. He had 34.4. Everyone is 34.5 that we can see, but we can only see their second lap sectors, unfortunately, on our timing screen. So if that's the case, then Gutierrez needs to find around a second, Jenny, in that same sector for them to be able to challenge for those 5 points. At the minute, the 5 points are going the way of Arlen Kotlinski and Kristoffersson, and that is not what the other teams need. He rolls past the Fox tent there and past the various different tents of the other teams, loosens off the harnesses. Very studious, isn't he, with his glasses on there, full focus.
So this is going over the ridge and then cutting back down. The replay, you can just see that cutting up as you go into that section, and the flying bash. That's quite an impact.
It really was. That is definitely risking it for me, but it's an alternate line. Jenny, it's maybe one that you could take during the racing to try and line somebody up in front. You're going to ride on board now for that same section. So up onto the ridge line, look close in on this flag, then watch, he lifts off the throttle to bring the nose in and then guns it, and literally there's a dip on the inside, launches it off, boom. Okay, well, it worked. They didn't break the car. But is it risk versus reward? They might look at the data and go, you know what, we didn't gain any time, don't do it again because it's risking the car. They might look at it and go, it was 2 tenths, it's worth it all day long.
Yeah, they'll see all the data points that we don't unfortunately get to see, and they'll be able to work it out and exactly what they want to do. But look at that arid, dry desert as we get ready for our next car. Not long to go now until Veloce Racing take to the track.
Well, Veloce waiting patiently to take their turn. We're going to have a catch-up with Michaela Arlen Kotlinski.
Well, as things stand, Rosberg X Racing still quickest and leaders in the Traction Challenge as well. And Michaela Arlen Kotlinski joins me now. You guys are flying out there. What have you managed to unlock?
I think we did a solid run and we tried to make no mistakes. So I felt for myself, I went as quick as I could without making any mistakes because as you can see here, it is so tight. So if you have a minor mistake, you lose 2 seconds and then the lead is gone. So we will see. It will be exciting now to see Acciona Sainz. I mean, they were super quick in the free practices. So yeah, for sure it's going to be tight, but yeah, we had a good run. We feel good with the pace and so on. And thinking in the long run, we want to take as many points as possible this weekend.
Yeah, points is where it counts, and you guys are winning everything you can win at the moment. Clara Anderson was the quickest female yesterday. Christina on that first lap was matching you to the millisecond. It is going to be tight up there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, we also saw now, you never know who's going to start, but it looks like it's going to be all females and then Kevin, but the rest is going to be almost like it was in Sardinia. But you know, in the end, I just tried to find my best pace, but like I said, also be on the safe side.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Laura Witz down there. Laura Winter even down there. Laura Witz, different presenter.
I think Laura Winter might have found her suitcase. She wearing a different outfit yesterday. If you don't follow Laura on social media, the big story is her case didn't make it all the way to Chile. So yes, there we go. Poor old Laura.
Poor old suitcase.
Yeah, will it ever be seen again? So that was the moment for Gutierrez. That's a couple of seconds, and that's in the traction challenge. But of course, she did have two. Was that the lap on which she used the hyperdrive? Because if it was, then maybe they could go quickest. I can't remember, Jenny, if she had the moment on the lap she used the hyperdrive. I think she did.
I was too busy looking at the stats, and
yeah,
whenever I look at the standings,
one eye off the other.
We know what happens. Something funky goes on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mad-Eye Gal looking at the various different bits. Fantastic stuff, though, to see them challenging and getting right up there. There's 10 seconds over the top four at the minute. It's Kristoffersen, Arlen, Kotlinski for Rosberg X Racing, from Loban Gutierrez for X44 Vida Carbon, Leduc and Price for GMC EV Hummer Chip Ganassi Racing, and then Tanner Faust and Emma Gilmore for Neon McLaren Extreme E. To be fair, Jenny, there's only 20 seconds down to P6, so the top 6 are split by 20. It's close.
You can just see there in the paddock the XC Eco icons showing you all the different things that we're trying to do, including everybody bringing their own bowl and saving 250,000 individual items going to landfill. A lot being done down there to try and help the environment.
2 cars to go here in Q1 in Chile, round 4 of Extreme E 2022. Down on the line is Veloce Racing. After that will be Acciona Sainz, who were fastest yesterday in both of the free practice sessions. So can they take the top spot, which is currently held by Rosberg X Racing?
Christine GZ taking the car first, and it'll be fascinating to see how she's doing. That big crash seemed to be something that did affect her last time out. We hope it won't affect her too much this time out, and we hope that she can just stay focused. She seems fit. I've seen images of her on her social media jumping up staircases. She looks happy and healthy.
Yeah, she's 15 seconds off taking the start. We have on the line from Chile, Tamara Molinaro, who we're going to have a chat with in just a moment. Let's get Christine GZ off the line first of all and away. So the run starts for Veloce Racing. 4 laps, 2 laps for Christine GZ, 2 laps for her teammate Lance Woolridge, the South African who's renowned for his off-road racing experience and was maximum attack when he made his debut last year in the UK. And we're expecting great lap times from him. GZ hopefully is feeling a little more recovered, as Jenny said, from that injury earlier this year. Now, Tamara Molinaro, you are out this weekend again with Timo Scheider for Excite Energy Racing. How was your run in Q1?
Hi everybody. So yeah, I mean our run was okay. We didn't want to take any risks. Yesterday we already had our problems, let's say. So we decided to just take it easy and yeah, see what happens to the other ones.
Yeah, you were down on run time yesterday, weren't you? But I feel adrenaline is on your side, if nothing else, this weekend, Tamara. Tell us about your tattoos.
Well, it's healing at the moment, so everything is good, and we had this idea about doing this tattoo together after our podium in Sardinia. So yeah, I have it on my rib cage, and Timo has it on his foot.
Which is more painful, foot or rib cage?
I reckon rib cage.
I have to be completely honest, I didn't feel that much pain. I was actually expecting to be in a lot of pain, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, probably Timo's place was actually much worse than mine.
So Tamara, what's the score with the track conditions? We saw it was damp at the start of the session. We know they're damping the track down with seawater. What's your feelings on the way it's developing during the session, and how do you think the track's going to develop through the course of the weekend?
To be honest, I mean, we've seen yesterday that there is actually a lot of difference between going first on the road and last, for example. So for sure the track is getting better. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So you just have to deal with the cards that have been dealt to you. So yeah, that's how it is.
Fascinating that you see that it's getting better and better then. So what do you expect from this afternoon when we go cars racing for qualifying 2?
Well, so Timo will take the start, luckily, because I mean, I'm not used to fight with 5 cars for the first corner. So that's the strategy that we decided to do this weekend. And yeah, I mean, let's see. Hopefully, we will get a good start, and then you never know what happens in Extreme E. So it will be interesting.
So Christine GZ is on her second lap. At the minute, she's around 11 seconds down. That would see them slot in, if you look at, well, we're looking at our timing screens, in between Neon, McLaren Extreme E and Excite Energy Racing. So at the moment, they'd be just ahead, but if she loses the same amount of time on this lap, then they'll drop behind Tamara Molinaro, who we're talking to now, and her teammate Timo Scheider. So good to see GZ back out there and at it. I'm expecting Woolridge will go maximum attack, Jenny, on his 2 laps as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Tamara, you can see the same images that we can. Just talk us through some of this course. Tell us what are the bits that Christine GZ is negotiating right now. What's she having to put up with in the car?
Well, so this steep hill is actually, a challenging place because, it's very, very steep. And then there is this jump, and you have to be very tight on this left flag to be sure not to miss this narrow gate here, which I did yesterday twice in free practice. So I know very well the place. Then here, of course, it's the jump where we saw the crash of Utah. So there we also need to be very careful because you can just lose it there. You can lose a few tenths of a second, but you can just end the race, and for sure that's not what we want. So actually now the switch zone, it's actually very tricky to see exactly the boards because there is a crest just before it. So it's not easy to find a good braking point for it. Yesterday I speed to go into the switch, so let's say that yesterday we had a bit of a rough day, and today we just wanted to have a clean one.
Interesting, thank you for that. That's the sort of thing we just can't see from here, so it's great to hear your insight on where those boards are. We're going to see the switch. Tamara, I just wanted to ask you one more thing, which was about Inoa Hyperdrive. So most of the teams we've seen using on the uphill section to try and gain some momentum there. But we noticed that X44 were using it on the crest and the run down to Utah's jump. What's your thoughts on where it works and X44's different tactics? Do you think other people might try that?
Well, for sure, it's actually a good place for hyperdrive, what X44 did. I probably, well, of course I don't know because we have to analyze a lot of things, but I think that on the uphill, I think you can carry a bit more speed. For sure, the good thing about doing it before the jump is also the way that then the car absorbs the jump as well. So yeah, it's interesting. We decided to take it on the start because of our conditions on the road. We thought that I could make more time on the first sector than in the traction challenge, because for sure this afternoon is going to be more fast. So that's how we decided to do it.
So tomorrow we're just going to have a quick chat with Christine GZ as we see Lance Woolridge use his hyperdrive. Christine GZ is down in the switch zone with Laura Winter. Let's see how that lap went for her.
Christine, last time out in Sardinia, obviously you were still recovering from that foot. You were gaining confidence in the car. How did it feel out there for you today?
Pretty sketchy. It's very, very fast. Obviously, it's completely different to what we drive off-road, but it's pretty cool. And I mean, hopefully we're going to step it up during the weekend. We're trying to also keep the car in one piece, which right now is the main objective, let's say.
We saw you jump out the car. I'm sure you'd have run to the command centre if I hadn't stopped you. The foot is feeling good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Now you'll watch me run off.
I'll let you run then. Thank you.
So Christine GZ, I think they're just saying it's very quick. I'm trying to keep the car in one piece. She's got to find that confidence, Jenny. She's just got to find the ability to push like she was before and block out those feelings of having a big crash earlier in the year and all the rest. It is way easier said than done. Woolridge coming down the hill. Has he got a problem? That didn't look good at all coming down the hill. All crossed up and then tight on the inside.
Interesting, just watching him come down, as you say. I can't see the throttle reading, so it's hard to know if he's absolutely full throttle.
He's catching, so yeah. I mean, it seems it's okay, but it was a strange line, wasn't it? Hasn't used his hyperdrive. Oh, sorry, did use his hyperdrive on the exit just before we spoke to Christine GZ. So he's used it up there. 20 seconds back, he's going to see them. They're around the... Wow, it's actually... No, I was going to say it's very close. It's very close with Cupra. And then Genesis Andretti were 21 seconds back, but they also got that 43-second penalty for Timmy Hansen speeding on the exit of the switch zone. So they're either going to slot in... I think they're going to slot in 6th place, aren't they? Here, 7th place, potentially. 6th or 7th place.
Yeah, disappointing for GZ and Woolridge as well. They had bad luck last time out. The points that they've got, 7 so far for the season. Once again, another of those teams that just, they seem to go well, but then just don't get the points from the weekend that maybe they deserve.
Yeah, agreed. You've just got everything's got to go so well, hasn't it? You've got to get everything together so well through the whole course of the weekend. It's all got to go your way.
I mean, GZ, before she had her accident, was absolutely flying. She was the fastest person out on track. So she's just got to remember and refine that form, as you say.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Easy. Easy to say that from a commentary box when you're not actually in the car or having to do anything with the car.
And it's a committed course. It's fast, Jenny. You know, so there's lots of crests where the car's unsettled. One last question to Tamara before we let you head back to the paddock. You're heading out next, obviously, for the race portion. Your background is largely as a rally driver, but we're getting used to seeing you out here racing as well. What do you find harder, Q1, where you're out on your own doing what you used to, or the racing section?
Oh no, for sure. I find it harder to be racing. You know, okay, I had 1 year of experience in rallycross, but you know, I never did karting, I never did racing in my career. So for me, that's the part where I struggle the most. And of course, being out on my own, it's more what I like. I just miss a co-driver, to be honest. You know, sometimes it's hard to be alone in the car and not hearing anyone talking to you. But yeah, I mean, I just have to get used to it.
Well, you'll have to get Timo on the radio to give you some encouragement, or maybe you can persuade him to sit in the passenger seat. But tomorrow, all the best for you, the Excite Racing team, and to Timo as well. We look forward to seeing you in Q2 later on today. Good luck, all right, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks a million, guys.
Thanks so much. So good to hear her thoughts on this course as well. She's been out there already this morning. She'll go out again later as well. And as you can see, Veloce slotting into 7th place out there, 26 seconds behind the leaders.
Now, Woolridge giving a bit of feedback over the radio. Well, what are his splits like? I'm just looking at Lance's splits. He's about a second off in the first one. He's thereabouts in the second one, a little way off in sector 3. We don't have his times for both laps, only his second lap. So they're not a million miles away, are they? There's Christine GZ. She's looking at the timing screen up in the command centre as well. She's looking...
She looks like I want to go and give her a big hug and say, come on, you got this.
You've got this, yeah, you've got this.
But we can't do that. Everyone's our favourite.
We'll send her a message. We'll send her a message.
Yeah, chin up. I know it's tough for you. It's tough for the Veloce team as well. One more car to go out there. It is the Acciona Sainz team getting ready to go. This is just a look back at that Veloce team in the car. Tamara Molinaro saying that the conditions were improving, but it looked a little bogged down for Veloce.
It was very dry on that section, the off-camber section down the bottom there, very dry indeed. The sand almost looking deeper than it was. That was one of the bits we thought might cut up down here at the bottom of the hill. But look, it's a good solid run by both. There's no major problem there.
They brought the car home. That's one of the most important things in this championship. And when it gets later in the day and they can go out there and get a little bit racy, I wonder if that just reignites that fire and you go, oh, yes, this is it.
It does. And also, Jenny, the other thing is sometimes you just realise where there's a section where somebody's doing something else. You go out in free practice or in a solo run like this and you've only got you and the clock and you can look at the data and the team go, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's easier said than done. But when you follow, I don't know, Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski over the crest and you see just where she braked and just where she pitched in, you can go, okay, you know what, actually, I can go quicker through there. And you get dragged along a little bit and you can learn a little bit about pace. So we'll see for those who aren't quite there. It's tight at the top, just 10 seconds across those top 4 teams. 5-second gap between RXR and X44, but these guys were so fast yesterday.
Yep, fastest in the first practice session, fastest in the second practice session. They will want to go out there and really try and impress everybody and show what they can do this weekend. Their timings are on the board. They know exactly what they've got to beat. And 8:49.216 is the time that Rosberg X Racing have set. So that's what they're going to be looking for. And we are now under 1 minute until we get going for the last car in qualifying round 1. All eyes concentrated. Number 55 car ready and waiting to go. And I feel like this team have a lot to prove after last time getting kind of beaten out of the race. Nerfed off, yes, that's the appropriate word, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, look, Carlos was a bit unhappy about that. Johan couldn't see him, you know, racing incident, not, whatever you like. You know, the stewards got involved. First of all, it was a small penalty, then it was a bigger penalty. But it's fine, you know, these things happen. Carlos is okay, that's the most important thing. It was a big old crash, a lot of work done to the car. They obviously got it dialed because yesterday, as we said, they were fastest in both sessions, not just one, both sessions. In fact, yesterday in FP2, 8 of the 10 teams got a penalty for whacking a flag or doing something wrong. Tomorrow, she got caught for speeding yesterday. Which sounds hilarious, doesn't it really? Interesting, so straight away, hyperdrive for Nasser Sainz off the line. Let's see what a difference it makes up to turn 1. Nothing. 200th though, then other people have used hyperdrive off the start too. I don't remember if anybody else used it more effectively than that, but...
Yeah, Nasser Al-Attiyah used it, I think, and he was pretty good, but I think this is where it carries the speed into that slingshot, hopefully, for them, and then they can really get some momentum going. So fastest at the moment, getting into that P1, they've got to keep on pushing. You've got to go for it, Leia. You've got to try and get this car back 2 laps before handing over to Carlos Sainz.
I'm impressed with Nasser Sainz, just the way, the progression again. We've said it a lot with a lot of the drivers. You know, you just have to raise your game, don't you? It's absolutely world class, this field. There are legendary drivers left, right and centre if you ever wander through the paddock. And Lyra has massively raised her game. She's fastest at the moment by 0.08 of a second.
One of the only females with experience in Chile, so she understands the nature of what she's doing here. She's a Dakar absolute pro, remember, when it comes to 2 wheels. Little different on 4, but she knows what she's doing out there, and her confidence has just increased every time she's got in that car.
I think that's the thing, Jenny. She's made the transition now from bike rider to car driver. She's in a different place. Last year we kept saying she's learning, she's learning. You continue to learn, or you hope to continue to learn the whole way through your career, all the little tricks that you can. But a very different drive to before. 0.42 up now. It's not a lot, 0.57, but it's going the right way the whole time. Nasser Sainz is throwing down here for Acciona Sainz. She's got a whole nother lap to go, but she's going to finish this first lap in the region of half a second to a second quicker. Look, it's going up a 10th each sector. Is she going to carry the pace there? Squashes the jump just a little bit, but still 0.64 of a second up after her first circuit.
Yeah, really interesting watching the section that they go through, sector 3, which is the Continental Traction Challenge. She's a couple of seconds off the fastest time, so let's see if she can improve on that on lap 2, because I think most of the fastest times have been set on the second lap when it comes to that Continental Traction Challenge. Of course, remember they're going from a standing start or the switch zone on the laps 1 and lap 3, so it's lap 2 and 4 that they can really go great guns, carry all the speed round.
So I think Lyra is the first driver to be bang on the pace of Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski. Sarah Price was really close, if you remember, on the first lap. Only had, what, 2.2 in it. But Lyra's actually come in quicker. She's just about edging the championship leader. 3-time winner, 1-time DQ. That's the line that Timmy Hansen yesterday was on the super wide, yeah, and then had to lift, and it has cost her. It's cost her about 0.8 of a second. That's nothing though. That's keeping it within reach.
Just all depends where you feel personally as a driver you want that speed, where you want to carry momentum, and how you best think that you can slingshot a way of doing that. Catching once again, you can see that gap just coming down as she comes down the hill towards this section where people have been using the hyperdrive just to give them that push up towards this fastest jump.
So up over the top here, carry the speed. If you remember Christopherson over there on his second lap, Jenny, it was a big jump over the crest, but again, that was with the assistance, certainly on one of the laps of the hyperdrive, which gives you a bit more air, but then makes that tricky S-bend coming down the hill difficult. Most people now taking to the left side. This morning we were seeing people taking the jump on the right side, that driver approaching the jump, not the angle we're looking at. 1.91 seconds down. Carlos Sainz has a little stretch. The legend is about to get into the car. In comes Nasser Sainz. Now remember what Tamara Molinaro said, that the braking board, the slow board is just after a crest, and it's really hard to judge. As she comes in, she loses just about 0.8 to Arlen Kotlinski. So she was 1.9 down, then 2.7. Most of that's in that braking zone into the switch zone.
That braking zone is going to be fascinating with 5 cars as well. If they're clumped together, that's going to be really tricky to navigate. Right, let's have a little listen. They'll go into their bay, which is the very last bay. It all shuffles out, of course. They'll do the same distance, but I wonder how much of an advantage they'll think that is to get back out and racing as quickly as possible. So Nasser Sainz parks the car. They wait until the car's into neutral. Only then can Carlos Sainz go out. They don't like the switch much. Let's see if they've got any more keen on the idea. Nice switch, actually.
Carlos dives in. They don't take the wheel off. Remember, Chip Ganassi Racing always take the wheel off. They've chosen not to. It's just one more thing on the job list, isn't it? Nasser Sainz has come around this side. Extending the belts.
Clips in the radio comms lead, which we saw hadn't happened earlier on for JBXE.
They're struggling with the belts. They're struggling with the belts. The left shoulder belt isn't on at all.
Oh, it's caught behind him.
Loosens it off, shuts the door. They might just about scrape this inside the 45. Got to get that door done and down. He can't go.
Oh, he's gone too soon.
No, don't go. Got to wait. Again, you had spotted it as well, Jenny. The technician was still in the switch zone.
They have to be in neutral until the technician has left the switch zone, and then can they put it into drive and move forward. If he moved forward too soon, which I think he might have done, the stewards will have to have a look at that. So hyperdrive straight off.
So they both used it off the start then. Nasser Sainz plus a minute 29. It can't be, surely. No, we'll wait for an update on that. Right, we're going to catch up with Nasser Sainz. She's with Laura Winter, and we'll fix the timing.
Laia still breathing hard from what was a brilliant lap from you, but then an issue in the switch zone. The technician was still in there when Carlos went to go. Just talk us through what happened from your point of view.
No, I don't know. We were struggling to put the belts on the correct way, but we will see what happened. And happy for the performance. We will see, and it's still a long weekend, so let's push.
It was a brilliant lap from you. You seemed to lose a bit of time in the second half of the second lap. What did you learn out there in terms of where time can be won and lost?
Yeah, the track is changing and it's getting more bumpy. I did a small mistake that cost me a bit of time, but anyway, I'm happy. No big mistake, so that's the goal.
It was a great lap. Thank you.
Carlos Sainz has just hit the flag on the top of that crest, Jenny. It was already lying down, but we did see some super strong winds here, which actually made the flags look horizontal, but I think he drove over it. But either way, car 55 under investigation, switch zone infringement. You saw the replay whilst Nasser Sainz was talking to Laura Winter. Unfortunately, Carlos moved the car with the technician still in the switch bay, and then the timing screen updated to show that they were 9 seconds back. So they, not only did they lose time, but going early, that'll be a whacking great penalty, I'm afraid.
Yeah, not the weekend that they wanted at the moment. They're going to have some serious work to do in the race section of qualifying, which gets underway slightly later on today. But let's see what form Carlos is in, because he looks like he's absolutely wringing the neck of this Odyssey 21, and it looks great.
Oh, you can't beat watching Carlos on a charge. I mean, you know, and Carlos, angry Carlos after the switch zone didn't go the right way and has to come out and race later on. Yes, please, is all I'm going to say. We know they've got the pace. That's what's so exciting for me, really, is to see. I think we've got 4 or 5 teams here, Jenny, that have all got the pace. RX, RX44, CGR, Chip Ganassi Racing, McLaren, and Acciona Sainz. So those, for me, are the 5 teams that have all got the pace, just little things here and there. Maybe even Genesee Andretti United, without the problem that Katie had. So, yeah.
Yeah, and because the course is so short, this time out, it does make those differences just
much smaller.
So much smaller.
Yeah. I mean, look, think about Nasser Al-Attiyah as well, and his new teammate Clara Anderson. Clara's had no time in the car. What will she do when they get stuck into a race situation? This one's going to be tight. Don't miss Q2 today. It's going to be fantastic. You're taking a look here. That's the summit where they drop off for the start of the Continental Traction Challenge. That whole yellow sector there before they reach the end boards, which we know are down by the jump, which caused the problems yesterday. So this part of the course is in there, and I think this is really challenging. You've got an off-camber corner before it, then you've got the dip, then look at the camber going away from you. If you're too far to the right, it'll pull you off to the side of the road, over the crest, and then down towards the finish of that section. It's probably the most technical part of the course.
Yeah, lots there to trip you up, but King Carlos is one of those with the most amount of experience. I'm just waiting for the Sector 3 time, the Continental Traction Challenge time to pop up on our screens. It's a 36.7, so not too dazzling at the moment, and a 15-second time penalty for car 55 for that switch zone infringement. It's going to shuffle them down the order.
Well, they're plus 17 already. With a plus 15, it could see them down as low as 7th or 8th, Jenny. So it's an absolute disaster, to be quite frank about it. 9 seconds we know were lost in that switch zone. And they go, okay, they go 6. So, but no, that's without the penalty. That's without the penalty. So plus 15 is going to see them, what, 27.32.
Further down by quite some considerable way.
8th. Sorry, I think they'll go 8th. That's the session done. Q1 goes to Rosberg X Racing. Not only have they won the session, they currently lead the Continental Traction Challenge, which would give them 5 bonus points. Can anybody stop them?
That's the question, and that's what all of these drivers will be thinking to themselves. How do we stop them? They said no allegiances have been made yet, but maybe an alliance for the future is what is needed here. Maybe there's something that the drivers can do to just stop the might that is Rosberg X Racing.
Fastest sector times have just flashed up here for us. Christopherson, Sector 4, Loeb, Sector 2 and 3. 3 is the Continental Traction Challenge, 34.4, but remember, it's him and his teammate, Cristina Gutierrez. They were around a second off the pace in there, so Cristina just needs to find a bit, but remember, she had that big sideways moment in there. Bet on X44 going for that in the next session, but they've got to deal with the traffic as well. First sector, Sector 1, Carlos Sainz is the quickest in there, so nice spread of fastest sector times. That would give us our perfect lap, but our laps are all a bit different here in Extreme E, thanks to the conditions and switch zones and so on.
2 brothers having problems out there. Their teams, the Genesis Andretti United team and JBXE, both cars unable to set really a representative time. They both had technical issues. They will come back stronger as well in the next round, so they could be in the mix.
Of the teams yesterday, Acciona Sainz, Jenny, fastest in both free practice sessions, and here they're slowest of the cars who didn't have any issues. But of course the issue was down to the switch zone, not the car. So some work to do there. Can't count them out.
They'd also lost a lot of time on that second run regardless, and I just wonder if you make a mistake like that in the switch zone, it kind of trickles over into your running as well, potentially. 17 seconds, it's a big gap.
Yeah, it is. It was, what was it when Lyra came in? It was about 10, wasn't it, when Lyra?
9 or 10, it was
10,
slim.
Yeah, but it was...
not quite in the form of yesterday.
No, it wasn't.
Was she only 2 seconds
She came in 2 seconds off, because we said it was the closest it had been. So Lyra Sainz came in super close, but they lost 9 seconds, Jenny, in the switch zone.
Yeah,
so
off
that gap of 17, take the 9 off it, and suddenly they're only 8 seconds off, and it puts them P3. It would have put them in between X44 Vida Carbon and GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing. So they would have been right up there. They lost 9 seconds in the switch zone, and then they got the penalty, which means they're not here with the top 3.
But look at that, a formidable trio as well, and those are the ones battling for the championship. RXR, then X44, then the Chip Ganassi Racing team. They are all separated by just a fraction of a team's away from 32 points from our leaders. RXR, is this going to be their second championship winning weekend? That is the question, and we'll find out the answer over the course of the next 2 days.
It was a mud bath, wasn't it, when they won in the UK, if you remember. Johan Kristoffersson wrestled Molly Taylor to the ground. And then Nico Rosberg as well, wasn't it? Everybody covered in mud. Yeah.
It's not going to be like that here.
No, it's not. It's well, not unless they take a big, long run over to the salt flats over in the background there. So plenty more action to come from here in Chile. Well, there is the paddock. Down there is Laura Winter. She's caught up with Sebastian Loeb. He's fastest on his own in that Continental Traction Challenge area.
Well, taking a look at the times, X44 Vida Carbon Racing are well up there, challenging RXR, and Sebastian Loeb with the fastest lap as well, pipping Johan Kristoffersson. How was it out there?
It was good. Christina also was really fast. She was matching the time of Michaela, and she did a mistake in one of the last corners. She lost a few seconds there, so we were 5 seconds behind when I started the lap, and yeah, I did the 2 best laps, but for quite a few tenths, so it was impossible to pass in front, but we are second of the quali, and that's not bad. It's a good start for the weekend.
Next up, of course, we've got side-by-side racing. We've got 5-car races. What's it going to be like door-to-door on this course?
This is difficult to say. I think it's a track where it can be some overtaking. It's quite wide with different possibility of lines. So I think it could be interesting. It's always a bit more complicated because it's you cannot have everything under control when you are fighting with the other guys. So I just hope we can go through and have a good run and go to the semi-final.
We'll see. Good luck. Thanks, Seb.
Good to see them. Right, and good to hear from Sebastian Loeb as ever. Oh, it's going to be so good this afternoon. I cannot wait to see these 5-car battles go out there. You can see work going on the cars already. In fact, quite a lot of work going on the Excite Energy car.
That is the end of Q1 then. Top of the timesheets, Arlen Kotlinski and Kristoffersson, 8:49.2. P2 Gutierrez and Loeb, P3 Price and Leduc. Sainz and Sainz could have been up there if it wasn't for that little issue in the switch zone which cost them some time, and then of course the penalty for leaving early. There's Gilmore, Faust, Molinaro, Scheider, Anderson, Al-Attiyah, all to play for. Points down the right-hand side. They get points from this Q1 session, and they'll get points from Q2 later on today when we go racing.
Worth saying those points are just the intermediate points, so they don't get added onto anyone's grand total when it comes to the, I suppose, the standings, but it is fundamental to where you begin your races when it comes to the semi-finals. You desperately want to stay out of the bottom 4. You do not want to be in the crazy race because only one car goes through from them.
Yeah, so all to play for. Got to try and win those races. They're going to be going maximum attack, full guns blazing, basically, to try and stop these two. Rosberg X-Racing, Johan Kristoffersson and Michaela Arlen Kotlinski leading the championship, leading the Continental Traction Challenge. Doing a very good job so far, but can anybody beat them in the racing portion and maybe knock them down, make the job a little bit harder tomorrow?
Well, it's a stunning setting, isn't it? You can just see there the Antofagasta mine. They're trying very hard to make this more sustainable, and we all have to do our bits. The QR code in the corner is to do with grid play. If you want to get involved, you certainly can do, because everybody's votes are going to make a big impact on where people start this race, their pick for the grid.
Well, Acciona Sainz, like, are right up at the top of that. Abt Cooper there as well. Abt Cooper have always had good votes this year. Last year it was always X44 and RXR who were at the top of the standings. I think there's a few F1 fans out there who like to vote in favour of their old favourite drivers. But at the minute, Acciona Sainz with the advantage. They've got a bit of work to do in Q2 to make advantage of that. In the build-up to the final at each Extreme E X-Prix, fans can show their support and vote for their favourite teams and drivers through grid play, with voting taking place via the Extreme E website. The team that collects the most votes win grid play and gets first grid position pick for the final, and have an opportunity to massively influence the start of the race. But there is a twist. The teams that do not reach the final can donate their votes to any other team. The winners of the crazy race unable to receive any additional votes. With a strong start being key to a good X-Prix result in Extreme E, grid play can make or break a team's chances of success. Which team will emerge as firm fan favourites?
Nice recap there. Thank you very much, Andrew Coley. So, 10 teams have gone out there. They've done their best around the harsh terrain that is the Antofagasta Copper X Prix track, and my word, it's taken some, hasn't it?
It has. We've seen a couple of people with issues. We've seen a number of different tactics for the Anoa Hyperdrive, and I think there are other places, Jenny, we might see that be unleashed in the attempt to try and make some passes. One car around here has been exciting. 5 cars around here is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, can't wait. Make sure you come back and join us. The qualifying heats, you can see who's going to be going against each other, and they look like an absolutely brilliant combo. Qualifying rounds 2, Group 1 and Group 2. Plenty to get excited about there.
Yeah, neither of those is looking like a particularly easy race, is it? Those points will be added up to the ones from Q1, and that will put them into the semi-finals and, of course, the crazy race tomorrow. It's been a brilliant Q1 here in Chile for round 4 of Extreme E. Make sure you join us later on today when we go racing and round out quali.
Hyperdrive now.